Remember during the WNBA season, oh my gosh, all the ratings, the record ratings, blah, 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 blah. But what did we say continuously here on this channel? Yeah, record ratings. Of course you guys are gonna have record ratings. Nielsen changed how they count numbers. Of course their ratings are going to be more. It would be kind of embarrassing if they were that much less. Well, Sustainable, Unrivaled, their numbers came out and they are less.
For months, the narrative felt flawless. Everything lined up neatly, and the hype made sense. Then the data started to misbehave. That's when the applause grew louder, the standards became more flexible, and suddenly, a brand new yardstick for success was introduced out of thin air. Now there's an uneasy silence hanging in the air, the kind no one wants to address. So here's the question that should make you uneasy. When a league has to redefine how progress is measured, what truth is it hoping you won't look too closely at?
Unrivaled could be seeing its final days as Paige Beckers and gang could not save the viewership from tanking. What does this mean for the WNBA when they make their return back to TV? We finna talk about it all. I told you guys a couple months ago that the views was going down on the channel. Like the WNBA content wasn't looking too good. I was one of the first people to say that about the whole genre itself. Told y'all we was gonna be making big time changes on the channel. Now I say that to say this. Now there has been news to come out about Unrivaled viewership been down nearly.
They framed Unrivaled as the future-proof model, a bright symbol for women's basketball, a league that would beat the odds, expand its audience, and keep investors writing massive checks, all while players sprinted up and down gleaming hardwood floors as proof it could all work.
They say. Unrivaled is sustainable. They say. They say. Ratings have come out for Unrivaled, and folks, if I was to say fall off a cliff, if I was to say significant drop off, I would be underselling how underperforming day one of Unrivaled really was.
They claimed it, they swore it, and they said it with that unwavering certainty that makes you squint at the fine print. Because if this league was really sustainable, why did Season 2's opening night feel like a ghost town? Complete with tumbleweeds rolling across the court? The ratings are in, and calling them disappointing would be like calling a Category 5 hurricane a gentle breeze. These numbers didn't just drop, they tanked, nosedived, hit rock bottom, and then politely knocked before finally collapsing into the dumpster of "we tried" statistics.
So the first set of Unrivaled ratings are in, and it's been kind of grim. And by kind of grim, I mean really, really grim. If you are Unrivaled, this is, if these are your ratings every single week on True TV, it's not the biggest disaster in the world, because by the looks of things, these True TV ratings were similar enough to what they were a year ago. Similar enough to what they were.
Let's paint the picture for anyone just tuning in. Season 1 burst onto the scene like a thunderclap. Record-breaking ratings, banners waving, analysts declaring that women's basketball had officially arrived, unstoppable and on the rise. The future looked brighter than a halftime light show. But here's the catch. Those record-breaking ratings? A little too neat. Nielsen had tweaked their methodology, a change that conveniently boosted the numbers across the board. Suddenly, everything seemed bigger, shinier, and more popular than it really was. It's like slipping on shoes 2 sizes too large and insisting they were custom-made. Impressive at first glance, but ultimately useless. Fast forward to Season 2. Nearly 140,000 fewer viewers tuned in on Monday nights, proving that last year's momentum might have just been luck. Afternoon games fared even worse, drawing only 107,000 eyes. A quiet reminder that many fans didn't even know these games were happening. No matter how elite the players are, it doesn't matter if no one knows the game exists. Exposure is everything, and in Unrivaled's case, the hype didn't quite match the reality.
Hella views to begin with. They wasn't even getting hella views at all last year. Now this year their views is down by nearly 70%. This is very bad. Now, towards the decline of the WNBA season, towards the end of the season, we start seeing the WNBA kind of fudge the numbers, taking into account group party watch, well, basically watch party viewerships, counting those into affect like bars and stuff like that.
The picture gets even harsher when you zoom in on individual matchups. The Breeze Phantom pulled in just 40,000 viewers on TNT, while the Lunar Owls drew 30,000 on TNT and another 20,000 on True TV. That's barely over 50,000 viewers combined in the prized 1849 demographic. For context, similar games last year were hitting 90,000 to 100,000 on TNT alone, before adding audiences from other networks. In under a year, the league went from looking like a rising powerhouse to a cautionary tale about how quickly hype vanishes when reality hits. Executives who once dreamed of big sponsorships or flashy marketing campaigns are now staring at spreadsheets that read like a bad social media post. Primetime audiences are shrinking, afternoon games barely register, and total viewership is falling far short of expectations.
And pretend basketball. I have been telling you guys for years, as the mainstream media has intentionally lied to us. These elite athletes are amazing! This is the best basketball in the world! Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes! We have been talking about this here on the channel for years. The so-called growth in women's basketball is an illusion.
The truth is harsh, like a slow-motion faceplant broadcast live for everyone to see. Reality bites, gravity wins, and no amount of sustainable branding can hide the simple fact. Hardly anyone is watching. A big part of the problem is promotion, or more accurately, the lack of it. Season 1 rode a wave of social media frenzy, carefully crafted marketing, and the illusion of a can't-miss spectacle. Season 2, by contrast, hit like a whisper lost in a hurricane. Fans weren't reminded, alerted, or even gently nudged. In fact, you could argue the league itself forgot to tell people it was back. And then there's the rating system. Nielsen is rolling out a big data plus panel approach by the end of 2025. Blending traditional panel tracking with streaming numbers from smart TVs, third-party data, and basically everything else. For most sports, this system inflates figures, turns underperforming games into supposed hits, and feeds networks metrics that make advertisers swoon. But even that magic trick can't fully mask the bigger problem. If nobody knows you exist, the numbers won't save you.
The fact that the Rose and Lunar Owls on the primetime slot on TNT had... I don't think this is 40,000 viewers. Because I think this is the NA is the actual viewers. I think this is like the ratings numbers. I think this is in and around 100,000 viewers, which isn't good. Last year it was, am I right in saying last year? Was last year at 1.0? No, last year was 0.1.
Even with all these upcoming advantages, Unrivaled's viewership barely budged. Smart TVs, big data, panel tracking, none of it can rescue a league that has effectively lost the audience it promised would be the backbone of its sustainable model. The irony is striking. This was a league launched on the promise of innovation, forward-thinking strategies, and lasting growth, yet it can't even sustain viewers for its marquee matchups. The numbers tell the truth. Overconfidence, sloppy promotion, and a fan base that either moved on or didn't even realize there was a season 2. Investors, the lifeblood of any young league, are likely rethinking their bets. The players are talented, skilled, and competitive, but delivering compelling sports entertainment isn't just about talent. It's about presentation, marketing, and awareness. Without fans showing up in meaningful numbers, the league risks becoming a showcase of skill with an audience that barely fills a fraction of the seats. It's like serving a gourmet meal in an empty dining room. Sure, it's delicious, but it's not sustainable if nobody's there to eat.
The early Unrivaled TV numbers are not good for season 2, that is, which is certainly no cause for celebration, but is cause for concern. When I say the first part, it's because I guarantee you there are going to be a lot of people racing to like rub it in and do like a and I'm rooting for Unrivaled success. I like the idea, the concept, the mission statement, and all of those things. But you also have to deal with the reality of it.
Looking at the numbers paints a harsh picture. Year 1 of Unrivaled kicked off with over 300,000 viewers on opening night. This year, Primetime games are drawing just 175,000, while afternoon matchups barely hit 107,000. That's not a small dip, it's a collapse. Fans who once tuned in are gone. Some didn't even realize the season had started. The story of a sustainable, growing league starts to read more like a press release than reality. A league can survive without record-breaking ratings, but it can't survive without awareness, engagement, or the sense that its games actually matter. Here's the kicker. Even with the industry's most advanced measurement systems on the horizon, Unrivaled is still falling short. Nielsen's Big Data Plus panel model, the same system that will inflate numbers for nearly every other sport, can't save a league that has already lost its audience. It's a numbers problem with one side vastly outnumbered, the fans who exist versus the fans who actually watch. Algorithms, smart TVs, big data, none of it changes the fact that if nobody presses play, the scoreboard stays in the red.
So, in case you guys do not know this, and I put this out on the Twitter, and I mean, hell, the tweet didn't even get that much interaction. Look, the Unrivaled League is in all kinds of damn trouble. They're in all kinds of trouble. Don't you find it odd that the league and the fire around it, why so quiet?
What does this mean for investors and league executives? Simply put, negotiating power disappears. Strategic plans have to be reconsidered, and any assumptions about steady viewership need a hard reset. Momentum can't be faked, buzz can't be manufactured overnight, and hype alone can't replace a truly engaged audience. Season 2 of Unrivaled may deliver top-tier talent, skillful play, and competitive matchups. But a league can't survive on talent alone. It needs viewers in front of screens, fans in the stands, and social media chatter that keeps the conversation alive long after the final buzzer. Now, the story of Unrivaled's sophomore season is a cautionary tale about assumptions, promotion, and the gap between an impressive debut and lasting success. Ratings plunged, momentum stalled, and even the most advanced measurement systems can't conjure an audience that isn't there. Awareness matters, engagement matters. Sustainability isn't a slogan, it's a measurable outcome. Unrivaled may still survive, but its claim of being a self-sustaining, enduring league is under serious question. Without a major course correction, it risks being remembered not for great basketball, but for falling short of expectations.
It's easy to show growth when you're growing from nothing to almost nothing. But people were not watching women's basketball. People were not paying $10 to be sedated while the Chicago Bravado airballed layups against the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces. Contrary to the prevailing narrative in the mainstream media, Angel Reese is not a draw. AJ Wilson,
So the big question remains, why did the fans vanish? Was it poor promotion, waning interest, or just the fleeting nature of sports hype? Can Unrivaled lure viewers back before the story of failure becomes permanent? Only time will tell if the league can course correct, or if its sustainability promise was always just smoke and mirrors, a catchy tagline with no real substance behind it. For now, the numbers speak louder than slogans, and those numbers tell a clear story: decline, disillusionment, and a league struggling to live up to its own hype. A league without viewers is like a high-end car with no fuel. It might look sleek, it might have all the bells and whistles, but it's going nowhere. And optics matter, maybe more than reality. You can have packed arenas, elite athletes, and nail-biting finishes. But if the stats tell a different story, the narrative changes in an instant. Season 2 of Unrivaled is a textbook example of how quickly hype can vanish. One moment, you're hailed as the next big thing in women's professional basketball. The next, your primetime audience barely fills a small cafe. That isn't sustainability. That's a flashing warning light so bright you'd need sunglasses just to scroll past the statistics.
Unrivaled ratings are in to begin season 2, and they're not great. To be honest, what should have been kind of expected. This is the second season. You're probably gonna peak at the first time you come out, which last year I believe they were in the 300s, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna pull up the numbers in just a second. The Athletics' Ben Pickman put them out. Saw people talking about the key demo rating as well. That was like kind of some misinformation from folks that don't know.
The role of promotion, or the glaring lack of it, can't be overstated. Season 1 thrived because everyone knew it existed. Even casual casual viewers tuned in out of curiosity, and social media amplified every dunk, highlight, and buzzer beater. Then there's the bitter irony of technology working against the story. Nielsen's switch to the Big Data Plus panel system was supposed to be a game changer, providing a fuller picture of viewership while inflating numbers across the board. In nearly every other sport, this translates into headline-grabbing, record-breaking ratings. Thursday Night Football? Inflated. Primetime events? Inflated. Unrivaled? Barely a ripple. Advertising revenue, broadcast deals, sponsorships. All of these hinge on one critical factor, the audience. Dropping from over 300,000 viewers to 175,000 isn't a minor blip. It's a flashing warning sign that the league may need to rethink strategy, temper expectations, or brace for a tougher financial reality than anticipated. The idea of a sustainable league is starting to feel less like a concrete achievement and more like a polite fiction. And it's worth asking, what does this mean for the fans who actually tuned in? Are their expectations being met, or is the league failing to deliver the experience they were promised?
I believe part of the reason is, hey, Project B has put the writing on the wall for Unrivaled. All right? It's no way around it. There's two things at work here. Number one, there's going to be a sale of Warner Brothers Discovery to somebody, whether it's Netflix or whether it's Paramount. And we've already found out, well, part of that, most likely, will be that the one place you can stream Unrivaled games.
Season 2 may showcase elite athletes, thrilling matchups, and fiercely competitive games. But there's an unmistakable emptiness when you watch in a half-empty arena or see a marquee matchup pushed into a lackluster broadcast slot. The energy that drives live sports, the commentary, the fan reactions, the social media buzz, simply vanishes when the audience shrinks this dramatically. The spectacle loses much of its punch without that communal atmosphere, leaving the league with skill and strategy, but none of the electricity that makes viewers care. This situation is a cautionary tale on multiple levels. Talent alone doesn't guarantee sustainability. Hype fades quickly. Fans could return, the league might adapt, and the next big game could see a surge in viewers if the right moves are made. But for now, the lesson is unmistakable. You can claim sustainability, boast about talent, and market aggressively, but without an audience, it all falls flat. Ratings are the ultimate referee, and in Season 2, they've thrown the flag. Unrivaled has a steep climb ahead if it hopes to live up to its promises.